Hey, what's up people? So today I'm going to be doing an analysis of Star vs. the Forces of Evil, episode 6, title Mewberty. Now this is one of the good cartoons that Disney's making nowadays. I just started watching it back when the hiatus started and I've been looking forward to these new episodes. And then this one comes out. Man, I remember when I was watching it for the first time, I was just like, there's no way this could be what I thought it was. So I went back and I rewatched it. And it turns out I'm right. How do I know? Because I know. Just don't question it. I'm just, look, okay, I know I'm right and I'm gonna prove it to you. So without further ado, here's my analysis. Alright, so this episode starts off with Star looking outside of her classroom window as the bell goes off, and Oscar sitting there playing on his piano guitar thingy, I don't know what it's called, in an all daydreamy fashion. Now I wonder, if the bell just rang, doesn't that mean he had skipped the class? Or possibly the entire school day? I mean, just listen to the lyrics he sings just before this shot.
Mom, don't tell me what to do. I don't have to listen to you. I don't have to follow your rules. I'm gonna live in my car at the school.
Okay, so he's obviously old enough to decide that he doesn't want to live with his mother anymore. So doesn't that mean he's old enough to decide he doesn't want to go to school? So what's he doing in the parking lot? Huh. Oh well, moving on. So Marco notices that Star's got a little bit of paint on her forehead. Now this is clever because they're actually in a art classroom. So she reacts by telling him that she's going through
Mewberty.
Now this is obviously the show's way of talking about puberty without actually saying puberty. Oh man, now that I'm thinking about it, if my little cousins see this episode, they're gonna be wondering about puberty and Mewberty, and then they're gonna want to ask people, they're gonna want to ask questions, and of course they're gonna come to me, their older cousin that knows everything about everything in the world, but then I'm gonna have to awkwardly explain to them why I can't explain to them what they want me to explain to them, and then I'm gonna have to have that conversation with them, and I'm gonna have to tell them to go talk to the parents, and they're gonna ask me why, and oh my god, thank you Disney for bringing this upon me. So this is the show's way of entertaining a younger audience while still talking about more mature subject matters for their little bit older audience members. But I gotta wonder, if Star's just now going through puberty or Mewberty, she must be around 9 to 10 years old, and Oscar lives in his car, which means he can drive, which means he must be at least 18 because he moved out of his mom's place and it's legal. I'm assuming it's legal. So Star's in love with an 18-year-old boy and she's probably around the age of 9 or 12. Interesting. Anyways, back to the Mewberty subject. So Marco tells Star that they have a similar thing on Earth, obviously talking about puberty.
We have a similar thing here on Earth.
Don't confuse this with your Earth things, Marco. I'm from Muni. This is gonna get really weird.
And he needs to keep her away from boys. And that's her first realization that Marco is of the opposite sex.
Wait a second. Marco's a boy.
The ship has sailed, my friends.
When you say things...
Or maybe not. So on their way home, Star starts acting a little bit weird.
Avert your eyes. Avert your eyes. My turn.
And when Marco tries to pull her away, her body reacts by secreting so many of those sticky hard things that she's able to eject it from her body. Wouldn't boys react the same way if girls touched? Oh, the implications. So this now would be the situation where Marco would run and try to find Star's parents, right? But of course talking to an adult about puberty would be way too awkward, so he did what any young man would do. He consulted a medical book, or in this case, a spell book. I bet a lot of people wish they would have had a magic spell book during puberty, But no, all we have is science telling us it's natural and we should just wait for it to go away. But isn't that what the glossary tells Marco? We'll get back to this. So Marco goes out to look for the book while Star sits in a locker, hormones through the roof, and staring at guys who look like they should be on the college swim team. I mean, seriously, look at these guys. Now Marco finds a book with a girl who obviously has the hots for him, and that wouldn't be too weird until I saw this. And then heard this.
Let's make some magic with it.
Seriously? And then Marco opens the book to a page that has a banana drawn on it. What's odd about this is the banana looks a little too straight. So back to the glossary. When Marco can't find the right spell, he looks for a guide and instead finds this little guy.
Did someone say glossary?
What?
He's about as useful as calling the doctor who wrote the book. I mean, he couldn't even tell that Marco wasn't a milady.
At your service, milady.
I'm not a milady.
Could have fooled me. Exceptions. But maybe we can
Please don't open your legs.
work something out.
Oh, thank the animators. Oh god. And now he has pants? Anyway, so he tells Marco, after being hand-fed pudding, that Star will be back to normal at 3:57 p.m. Or she won't.
Or she won't.
Very specific.
Nature is like a runaway dump truck.
Wait, did he just say nature?
Nature cannot be stopped, that is all.
My doctor said the same thing to me when my insurance wouldn't cover my bills. So by now, Star looks like something that came straight out of Fear 3. And she's running amok. This is when things get interesting. Star is running around the school picking up boys. Literally. She's going after every boy she can find, yet for some reason she ignores Marco. Sorry, shippers. Looking at this another way, we can see that she's obviously becoming more active with the opposite sex. And she's become something of a monster in the process. So next, Marco gets cocooned, but Oscar comes to the rescue. And boy, does this guy have issues.
Why don't you clean your room, Mom?
No, not that part.
I don't like your boyfriend, Mom.
Yep, that one. Might I recommend the glossary from Star's spellbook. Just make sure you bring enough pudding. So you'd think that at this point the only person who could talk some sense into her would be her best friend Marco, right?
You're making things worse.
Yeah, by helping her realize what she's doing is wrong, he's making things worse. Marco's probably never felt so useless in his life. So he lets Star go and she goes after the boy she's into, who's the implied bad boy of the cartoon. And no matter how many times I see this scene, it always makes me feel uneasy. So in this scene, after Marco lets Star go, she heads over to Oscar and picks up him and his car, and they fly up into the clouds together. And then the Glossary's alarm clock goes off and it's 3:57, and all of a sudden Oscar shows up falling from the skies as if nothing just happened.
What's up?
And then Star comes crashing from the sky and lands in her pile of hearts. Now see, the thing is, the glossary tells Marco that at 3:57 p.m. Star will either go back to normal or she won't. Now the reason why this seems a little too specific is because he knows more than he's telling Marco.
There has to be more you can tell me than that.
Of course there is.
And to be overly specific by saying 3:57, he would either one, know the future, which I highly doubt, otherwise he would have known that Marco was out of pudding.
It's empty. You ate it all.
No, the more likely explanation is that he knew what was gonna bring her back to normal, and he knew that Marco isn't the one that was gonna do it. Now whenever I think about Star dragging Oscar up into the sky above the cloud layer, I just can't help but think that she banged him. I mean, just think about it. She takes him up into the clouds where no one can see them, and all of a sudden everything goes back to normal. She loses all of her Mewberty symptoms, and everyone comes crashing back down to earth like a meteorite from the sky, and everything's back to normal. Doesn't that seem like an overly hormonal girl that finally got laid? I mean, she goes around looking to pick up every guy that she can find, and then finally she gets with the guy that she wants to go out with, and then they sneak off to somewhere private, and the end? Well, no. See, the most interesting part of this episode is the end of it. After Star comes back to Earth, Marco runs up to her and realizes she's back to normal, and she finds out that she actually got her Mewberty wings. Now listen to what Marco says.
Does that mean you can fly?
A little bit too much sass in his voice, don't you think? Now this is the most interesting part in the episode, because the way I look at it is, Star just went through puberty, right? She's got hormones through the roof, she doesn't understand what's going on, she doesn't know what's happening to her body. All that she knows is that she's very attracted to guys now, and she's going around looking for guys, and she finally gets with the one guy that she really wants to get with, and now all of a sudden she's got these wings, right? So Marco asks her, so can you fly now? And now if you look at it in that way, what he's implying is he's asking her, well, was it everything you thought it was going to be? Has your life changed so dramatically and positively that now you can fly? Of course, the answer is no, which is what they attempted to do at the end.
Let's test it out.
And fall flat on their faces.
Nope.
So guys, that was my take on the episode. I have a very dirty mind, yes I know, but I mean, come on, the episode was asking for it with all of this puberty stuff. I mean, there's no other way I could look at it. The only problem is, like I said before, Oscar is 18, and Star's probably between the ages of 9 and 12. Although she is from Mooney, so I don't know, maybe their puberty is different, or... look, don't ask me, okay? Something happened, it's over now. We can forget about that episode. That was like 3 episodes ago, depending on when I actually post this. But yeah, if you like my review, then give me a thumbs up and let me know if you want to see more. I'm not actually planning on doing any more. It's just this episode was just really weird. I mean, Adventure Time, there's always those little innuendos that make you think, well, or those are like little things. This was like a whole episode, so I just had to. I mean, I couldn't resist it. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.